to a farm stand, had no money, no phones or anything. The production crew didn't know where they were at. And they came back with a bunch of goods from the farm stand. And Bill told the locals that, he said, can I just put it on credit and I'll come back and pay you? And they said, okay. And he brought a bunch of fresh veggies and stuff from the farm stand back to the set. And then later they had to go pay the farm stand.
That's what happens when you roll with Bill Murray.
I thought that was just very entertaining and endearing.
I mean, he does his own thing. He's out there. He wants to enjoy himself. If he's going to spend all this time on film sets, he wants to enjoy himself. Because you saw the way I came home at night. Sometimes you're just beat. Your life is gone.
You were like a zombie.
Yeah. I needed coffee. Whoa. all I wanted was coffee. I talk about that a lot on the podcast. But yeah, so all you want is that. And so I like that he enjoys himself and wants to have a good time. That mood always lifts everything up. And I like it a lot. Do you want to hear something cool?
Yes.
So in this film, there are two characters who are killed by zombies. Lily and, oh man, what's the other woman in there that is working with her? It's Lily and...
Oh, the one who part-times at the morgue?
No, that's Lily. And then there was a lady who pours all the coffee.
Oh, the one that works at the diner?
The diner. But they're killed by zombies. They're killed by Iggy Pop, which is amazing that they just come in there and wipe him out. So it's like Iggy Pop and Sarah Driver come in and kill him, and then they drink coffee. But in the morning, Danny Glover discovers them. Bill Murray shows up. He walks in, sees them dead, walks out. He's like, what was it? A wild animal? Several wild animals? And Danny Glover goes, that's the same thing I said. Adam Driver shows up in his little car, his little bugger, and he walks in.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in there? A wild animal? Several wild animals? And then they nod. And then Chloe pulls up in her, she has another...
She had this
Prius.
I think he had the smart car and she had a Prius.
She shows up and then she walks out and she goes, did several wild animals do that?
It's
like the same gag.
They tell her that she doesn't want to go in there. You don't want to see that.
And then she goes in.
And she says, I didn't need to see that.
But
yes, they're very repetitive. I love it because every time you watch it, it gets better.
And they shoot it different. They don't even show her going in. They just keep the 3-shot of that.
She just comes back out.
Yeah, and then she goes and barfs after talking about how nice the ferns are in front of this place. Her flowering's been beautiful. You know, that was 2 different diners.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they loved the look of that diner, but then they didn't like the inside of it. So they shot everything on the outside, then they went to another diner to shoot in the inside.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they had to do that. And then Jarmusch said that was a nightmare to get everyone on the same page to shoot.
Well, you know.
What do you think about the Star Wars cameo in this?
I think it's amazing. It is so wonderful. And so, what are they?
An alien does it. Tilda Swinton.
Adam Driver's Ronnie has a keychain with a Star Wars keychain on it, and it's an Imperial ship, probably
like a Star Destroyer
of some sort. And someone tells him he has a cool keychain.
Tilda does.
And they have a real focus on that keychain to make sure you see that thing. It's wonderful.
I love that Zelda Winston is their Scottish... She's like a Scottish... Samurai. Undertaker.
Yes.
And she wipes out zombies easily. Alien.
Spoilers.
You know who she reminds me of?
An alien.
In Night of the Living Dead, the remake, directed by Tom Savini, I believe. Please don't shoot me. Don't be mad at me. I'll look that up. Tony Todd stars in it. In this, the Barbara, who in the original Night of the Living Dead, she's totally a screamer, yelling, really helpless, just yells the whole time. Mm-hmm. And there's an infamous scene where Dwayne Jones knocks her out. But in the remake, Barbara just grabs some guns and she's like, we can walk around them. And she just starts walking around the zombies and gets out of there just fine. That reminds me of Tilda in this one. Because Tilda's just walking, slicing heads. She's driving around a nice little smart car, talking to fashion zombies.
It's so random. I just love it.
You know, the Aquabats came to a bar I worked at one time.
Did they?
They played that song. And they have one of their most famous song, I would say.
Was that in Tallahassee?
Tallahassee, yeah. And one of
the name of a character from a famous zombie movie?
Jeez Louise, tying it back together.
Full circle.
And their most famous song is a song called Pool Party.
Okay.
And after their show was done, I worked like a 12-hour day. We, like, the whole staff and the band went and had a pool party.
That's
random. Had a pool party with the Aquabats. Fashion zombies in this movie.
I do love how she just says fashion and strikes a pose. And is she called Fashion Zombie
yeah,
in the credits?
She's Fashion Zombie all the way down here.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Charlotte Kemp Moore.
Fashion.
Moore. Fashion. It's so crazy.
Doesn't she tell her that color isn't really working for her, and then she chops her head off?
Yeah. And then an alien ship picks her up at the end.
Oh, that's amazing.
And all right, so I guess we should talk about how this movie starts, because the first line in this movie is just yuck. Yuck. It's Bill Murray and, I'm sorry, Cliff and Ronnie pull up, and they're looking for Hermit Bob, played by Tom Waits, who's walking around the forest the entire time mumbling.
Yes. Well, he's a hermit.
It's hermits mumble, right?
As you do in the forest.
And they go looking for
chomping on chicken wings.
They go looking for him. He sees chicken, which he's eating later.
Mm-hmm.
He enjoys that chicken. But then Hermit Bob takes a shot at him. And then they just end up leaving. I don't know. And then when they're leaving, he just goes, "Hey, Cliff, F you."
Yeah. So stupid.
He just swears at him.
Well, then I think that Jarmusch really did accomplish his goal of giving the characters space to have stupid conversations.
Yeah, I mean, they go out there, they can't find him, and then he disappears. Remember, they see him, and then they don't see him anymore?
Where'd he go?
Yeah, and then, Cliff, F you! Oh, man. And then Ronnie.
And then they get in the car and they have a very funny and pointless conversation. Cliff really wants to go get some coffee and donuts.
He's pushing it hard.
He is. He even calls up Mindy back at the station and sees if she wants them to get her coffee and donuts.
He wants coffee and donuts.
He really does, but Ronnie thinks it's a bit late.
Do you think Ronnie likes Cliff? Because there's several moments in this movie. All right, so there's a couple scenes. There's a scene where Cliff goes, "Yeah, I went to junior high with Hermit Bob." And Ronnie goes, "That must have been 50 years ago." And Cliff goes, "Yes, that was 50 years ago." And then later on, Cliff says, "Yeah, I should have retired 2 years ago." And then we're assuming either Ronnie or Mindy would take his place. But he doesn't. And Ronnie looks at Bill Murray. He's like, "Yeah, I know you didn't." And they argue later too. Like, they're like, "F you," and he throws a CD. Do they like each other?
I think maybe they're in the pattern of people that spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really the only two cops out there driving around.
Yeah.
What else are they going to talk about?
All right, I gotta say, I knew I fell in love with this movie when after Bill Murray is pushing his coffee and donuts bit on Mindy and Ronnie, they put on the radio and the song "The Dead Don't Die" by Sturgill Simpson comes on. And Bill Murray's like, "I've heard this before.
This sounds familiar.
I've heard it before. What is it?"
And Ronnie says, "It's the theme song." It's amazing. It's such a good line.
And this in the first 10 minutes where
so ridiculous.
They're already telling you that a song called "The Dead Don't Die" is the movie's theme song.
Well, did it play in the beginning credits? It plays at the end credits. It plays throughout the movie. There are constant references to the song "The Dead Don't Die" by Sturgill Simpson.
So they play it in the car.
Yes.
And then at Frodo's place.
They've got the CD. No, she has it playing in the car.
She has it playing in the car. And then she buys the CD from Frodo, who's not Frodo. Bobby. And then she dies. They get killed, the three of them, the Cleveland hipsters.
Ronnie picks up the CD.
Ronnie picks it up.
Puts it in the car.
Yeah.
The cop car.
And then Bill Murray throws it out.
Yeah, he said he can't take it anymore, and he stops.
There's a lot of dead don't die in here.
And the lyrics are just so poignant. It is the most ridiculous and on-point song for a movie, and I just enjoy it so much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you walk through it, everyone's looking at their cell phones.
Because after life is over, the afterlife goes on.
Brother. And it even says coffee in it.
It does. It talks about drinking coffee on every corner, but then the corners are gone.
And then you see Iggy Pop wanting coffee.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And then later on, the coffee zombies are aren't they holding the carafe?
They still are. Coffee. That's brilliant. All right, how about this? Let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we will talk more The Dead Don't Die. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. And Megan, we just got a wonderful package by WPS.
Yes.
I love that guy.
serve up some knowledge before you go.
And then what's the line? What does Dean say? What does RZA say? Oh, I got it. The world is perfect. Appreciate the details.
So what's cool about that is I read a bunch of interviews with Jim Jarmusch, the director in Vulture, Rolling Stone, LA Times, Irish Times, Screen Anarchy, several others. I read all these interviews, and he obviously repeats a lot of the same things over and over, which is nice that he's consistent. But he talks about that and the philosophy that he gets overwhelmed with all of the issues in the world, and he cares very deeply about what we're doing to the planet and all kinds of other things. But when he gets bogged down in it, he has to remind himself to appreciate the simple things. And that's what that quote tells him. Wow.
What was the song that he listened to over and over? Do you remember the song?
Oh, what song?
Well, doesn't he he watches a movie over and over.
Oh, he was telling, who was it? The Rolling Stone interview. He was talking about Tilda Swinton. I can't remember how it came up, but he mentioned that when he was trying to quit smoking, he did it cold turkey in his apartment for,
that's what it was.
I want to say about 10 days or something. And he watched Sword of Doom over and over because it put him into this place of rage where he could just work through his aggression and feelings of detoxing from the nicotine. And he said he would watch it, I think, about 3 times a day the entire time until he was not smoking anymore.
I show my students clips from that movie because they're gnarly. And he just walks in a straight line and murders people.
I haven't seen it, but now I really want to go watch it.
Let's get the Criterion. I want the Criterion Blu-ray now.
That is such a manipulative thing.
You guys heard it. You heard it here. I set this all up. This was amazing.
You probably did.
I love it.
You probably have it in your notes there. I can't read them though.
But I do I like that RZA's back. I love that he's in these movies. He scored Ghost Dog, the Forrest Whitaker samurai film that Jarmusch directed. Yeah.
Huh.
And so that was one of his first things was scoring. That's a badass movie right there. And so yeah, he scored that, and now he popped up in Coffee and Cigarettes. He's in this, but he's just a welcome presence. I like him in it. Pulling up at Woo PS.
I love the Woo PS shirt.
Giving Caleb Landry Jones advice. Mm-hmm. It's weird. And he gives him comics for free.
That was so sweet. I mean, they have a nice little town here, clearly. Hey, speaking of scoring.
Uh-oh, what?
This movie was scored by a band called Squirrel.
And who's in that band?
Who's in that band? Jim Jarmusch is in that band.
He's a cool guy.
He seems really... I would want to hang out with him.
I'd go to one of his concerts and be the least coolest person there, which would make me the coolest person there.
You'd definitely be cool. But you'd have to wear a squirrel shirt.
Yeah, he loves that, doesn't he?
He's very appreciative when fans come to premieres or interviews or signings or whatnot.
So should I be the guy that wears the name of the band, that wears a shirt with the name of the band on it to the band's concert?
Yeah.
Isn't that a thing? You're not supposed to do that.
I mean, there were a bunch of people at the Lucero concert wearing Lucero shirts.
Well, that's just... Oh, yeah, you're right. That's a concert t-shirt.
Oh.
So, because that shows, I was at their concert in 06, and now it's 2020, so I'm a long-timer.
Pretentious shirt wearing?
Why didn't I do that?
Is that a sport?
Yes. Wow. That'd be amazing. Throw concerts and see who wears the oldest shirt.
That could become a thing.
I guess I was pretentious.
Probably is a thing. We just don't know about it.
I said I watched Coffee and Cigarettes alone in an indie theater in Tallahassee in 03. What a good movie.
Yeah, that's pretty pretentious. It's okay.
Do you think the coffee was really good in the diner? Or do you think it's just the best they got around?
Ooh. No, that's funny. No one actually asked that in all of the interviews and whatnot. I wish someone had discussed that because coffee is such a big part of this.
What do you think?
Oh, you tell me. You worked on sets. Do you think the coffee was good if a production assistant made it?
Any coffee's good coffee on a film set, as long as it doesn't give you heartburn. So, if
plain coffee.
Exactly. If it's not plain coffee, you'll drink it. You just pour up a giant thing. Who knows what you're drinking on set? Just give me hot stuff with caffeine in it. Just let me drink.
That's what they should rename it. Hot stuff with caffeine in it.
I was listening to 30 Days of Night.
Get your cuppa.
They did 6 weeks of night shoots on 30 Days of Night. And on the 5th week, the director said, I need this more than film stock. And everybody on the film set, they walked around showing everybody holding coffee.
Were they coffee zombies at that point?
They were. And one of the guys actually had a massive caffeine addiction towards the end of it. Because that was his first ever time of doing night shoots. He had a big time coffee dependency. It's real. It's a thing.
It is?
It happens.
Okay. I believe you.
Coffee addiction is real. but I don't have it, even though I'm drinking one right